it's more important to answer the question than write lots of fantastic information. And that's it's a very kind of British thing about examinations. So that's one thing to remember. Always, always, always think to yourself, am I answering the question? And because I'm not an examiner anymore, I can probably say this, you know, a category of the marks are always, quite a big category of the marks are from how well did the question get answered. So it's separate from how beautiful is the English. The other thing also connected with writing, a quite good way to check yourself is when you've written something, when you're writing it, you speak to yourself in your head about what you're writing, and you kind of send a message to the page and you write it. And that works quite well, but a very good way of testing whether what you've done is good, if you read it out loud to yourself, or if you read it out loud to a friend, they can quite quickly tell you some things you won't have noticed. So after you've done some writing, reading out loud is it's a better way to check yourself than you might think. So those are two tips. I mean, Bangladeshi students, they do quite well in these examinations, but for a lot, I've seen the statistics for many years, and the writing tends to be very slightly less than the reading and the listening. The speaking kind of goes up and down. Maybe to say something about speaking, what happens in the speaking exams is, I mean, you'll get used to this from your practice. You do get asked some very strange questions because somebody invented, some questions for an examination. So if somebody asks me, can you speak to me for 2 minutes about a festival in your country? That's a very strange thing to ask somebody. And a native speaker like me who thinks about it. So no matter how silly the question seems to be, that's what you have to deal with. And just, don't worry if it seems like a silly question. I'm afraid, the people who invent examinations, some of the questions are a bit silly, but you have to just put up with it and stay calm. And remember that, everybody else has to face the same thing. And if you do that, I'm sure you'll do well.